And good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the City of Franklin Beer Board meeting. Today is January the 13th. That's Tuesday, the 26th. It is 4:30 Central Time. We're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. First, we'll have a roll call. Alderman Barnhill.
Present.
Alderman Caesar.
Here.
And the chair is here as well. Next, we'll move forward to setting of the agenda. And setting the agenda, we ask at this time if there are any changes to the agenda that they be amended. If there are no amendments to the agenda, we'll move forward as the agenda is currently set. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Second.
Motion has been properly set or made and properly seconded. We'll move to a roll call vote at this time. Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Caesar.
Yes.
And the chair votes yes as well. Next, we'll move to citizen comments. At this time, I do not have any citizen comments in hand. I'll look to Ms. Davy. Any citizen comments from either of you? All right. Seeing none in the gallery, we'll move forward. Next is approval of the minutes. This is consideration of approval of the minutes for December the 9th, 2025 Beer Board meeting. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion has been made and properly seconded to approve the minutes from December the 9th, 2025. Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Caesar.
Yes.
And the chair votes yes as well. Next, we'll move forward to new business. This is consideration of application of the Rotary Club of Franklin at noon, Inc., DBA, the Boots and Buckles Ball, Bicentennial Park Pavilion, 400 Fifth Avenue North, Franklin, Tennessee, 37064. Scott Hubbard, Managing Agent for Special Event. Event date and hours, March the 28th, 2026, 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. Ms. Davy?
Good afternoon, Beer Board members. Good to see you all. So this is a first-time event for the Rotary at noon. This event is to celebrate the 75th anniversary of the rodeo, and it'll be at Bicentennial Park. All of the inspections and the application are complete, so staff is recommending approval. And Scott Hubbard with the Rotary and Robin Baldry, who's the co-chair of the event, are here to tell you a little bit more about it and answer any questions you might have.
Excellent. We'll invite Mr. Hubbard and Ms. Baldry to the podium at this time. Sir, the floor is yours.
Welcome. Thank you very much. The Franklin Noon. This is Robin Baldry, who is one of the co-chairs of the event. The Boots and Buckles Ball is, like Ms. Davy said, a celebration of the 75th anniversary of the Franklin Rodeo. We would have had this celebration 2 years ago, except that we lost 2 years in COVID when we couldn't use Ag Center. So this year is our 75th anniversary. So the Boots and Buckles Ball is an event we're putting on at the Bicentennial Mall and under the shed and the patio area there, and for the celebration of that. And if y'all have any specific questions about the event, I brought Ms. Baldry along so she can answer any of those.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hubbard. Tell you what we'll do is we'll open up the floor for any questions or comments from the board at this time.
Okay, great.
Alderman Barnhill?
My only comment and question is make sure that you have it roped off or whatever you need to do, that you don't have somebody that's under 21
Yes, sir.
buying the beer or partaking of the beer then. So that's the only thing I've got. You guys have done some beer permit now for not 75 years.
Yes, sir.
But several years.
Yes, sir.
At
Yes, sir.
different locations. So
That's right. That's right. Can you address it? You want to
I
address
can.
that?
Yes, absolutely. We're keeping the beer and any kind of liquor area right under the pavilion.
okay.
And we actually have signs up that talks about that, and that they can't take any alcohol outside of the pavilion area. So we'll have it definitely contained.
All right.
And we also will be having City of Franklin police officers there, plus our own volunteers.
Excellent. All right, any further questions?
I don't have any.
Alderman Caesar?
No, Ms. Baldry did an excellent job answering the questions I was going to ask, so I would move for approval.
Second.
All right, the motion has been made for approval and properly seconded. We'll move forward to a roll call vote at this time. Alderman Caesar?
Yes.
Excuse me. Alderman Barnhill?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes as well. Thank you both for being here today.
We appreciate it.
Best of luck with the event. Look forward to seeing it. Next, we'll move forward to agenda item number 4. This is consideration of application of Franklin Pride TN DBA Franklin Pride Festival, the park at Harlansdale Farm, 239 Franklin Road, Franklin, Tennessee, 37064. Lee Ann Fracasso managing agent for special event date and hours, June 6, 2026, 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Ms. Davy?
All right, so this is another event, and this is the 6th year for the Franklin Pride Festival. It's also at Harlansdale Farm, which is where it's been in the past. And the application and inspections are complete, so staff is recommending approval on this application as well. And Ms. Fracasso, who is the secretary of Franklin Pride, is here to tell you about the event and answer any questions you have.
Excellent. Ms. Fracasco, we'll invite you to the podium. Please correct me on the pronunciation of your last name.
You did a great job. It's Fracasso.
Okay.
Yes.
Excellent.
Thank you. Good afternoon, board members. This is the 6th annual Franklin Pride Festival in June at Harlansdale, where we've had it the last 5 years. The festival has music and vendors, crafts and food trucks, that type of thing. We usually see somewhere between 6,000 to 10,000 attendees, depending on rain and the weather conditions, and sell somewhere between 400 and 500 cans of beer. That's it. So a really small percentage of attendees, and it is managed through a wristband and ticketing system with a dedicated area for the beer tent to be in, with dedicated volunteers checking for those tickets and those IDs. Yep.
Thank you, Ms. Fracasso. I'll open it up for comments or questions from the board. Alderman Barnhill.
I may not have a question on the beer permit, but it is on the agenda coming up after this meeting right here. And I'll wait for that comment or that question whenever that time comes up. You've had it for 5 or 6 years now. I don't guess there's been an issue with the beer permit. And as long as you understand that it's to be restricted to a certain area, and you just got through saying that you were going to do that. But did you say, what did you say, 500 or 600 cans?
Correct, sir.
Okay. I don't have any other questions. I think we've got, I'm pretty well satisfied that you are not, or do know what you're doing on that right there, okay?
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Alderman Caesar.
My only question is around the event itself. Is it a full park buyout?
It'll be a partial park buyout, sir. So, sorry, go ahead. Yes, the whole park, but it only takes place in a partial part of the park. So in and around the barn area with ADA availability and access and the new roadway that's been there, and then contained to like one section of the field. So it's not it won't be encompassing the entire park.
Yeah, thank you for that additional context. I guess what I was looking for, similar to the question previously about the pavilion and cordoning off the beer from.
Yes.
It's a giant park.
Yes.
And there are some concerns with, could somebody grab a beer and walk? Is the beer contained in one section of the event, or how are you planning to mitigate that risk?
Sure. The beer is located inside a dedicated beer tent up near the welcome tent area. So those are all very adjacent together, whereas the vendor area and the rest of the areas are separated
So
off.
I can grab a beer and walk around.
Within the festival
Within the
itself,
festival.
but the entry into the festival is, there will be security gates for people to come in and out of. They would be able to take it out of the park.
So somebody couldn't inadvertently be walking down the street and say, no, I'm at the festival. There's an obvious kind of stopping and starting point for where
Yes,
beer
sir.
can be consumed. Okay. That was my question. And I'm getting the nod from Jessica as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what we look for at any of our events at Bicentennial Harlansdale is that delineation of the
Yeah.
event and the beer, and because it's a full park buyout, the delineation for this event is the entire perimeter of the event, and they do have, like Ms. Fracasso mentioned, the security at the entry and exit.
Perfect.
So that's what they're working towards to help contain not only people getting in, I think, without a ticket, but also leaving
Sure.
with the beer.
And the genesis of my question was, could somebody just walk across the street to the factory? And the answer is no. Thank you for the
Correct.
time. Yeah.
Yes.
Jim. Yes, go ahead.
Well, the question is that how much of the 200 acres can they walk around with a can of beer? I mean, the city administrator just said that he chipped in with the full part, that particular thing.
Mm-hmm.
So can you move around? Can you go to the as far north on the north end of that? Or what are the restrictions specifically on somebody walking around with a can of beer in the park? Which, I wouldn't be too much opposed to one thing or another, but the city parks and children and whatever are not necessarily designed for what you're asking for here. This is an open park. My question might be also related to what comes up next on the next agenda. You might not get the full park based upon the recommendation of 8 of us sitting up here then. So what happens then, Gabby? Let's just say hypothetically you don't get the full park. What happens?
So, as I understand it, and Bill, you can correct me if I'm wrong, even though this permit is being granted first, it would be contingent on the event permit also being granted, and if there were restrictions added to the event permit itself,
Keep going.
not allowing the festival in certain areas of the park, then they wouldn't be able, this beer permit would be restricted to whatever's approved as the
Okay.
special event permit as a whole.
I'm satisfied.
Okay.
And you're taking the whole park so that you're controlling that whole space throughout the day. The event itself is really contained to that smaller area, and that would apply to really all the festival goers. It's really kind of a safeguard we've had in place for several years now to just sort of make sure they've got the whole park. It makes it clean and easy in terms of who's where and who should be on the premises. And but within that, there is a footprint for the true festival itself. And that was just to say, somebody doesn't inadvertently walk into an event they didn't plan to attend. And that's the way we've approached this the last really 5 years. I think we've had the whole park.
Go ahead. The basis of my question was purely, are we delineating in the way that we do for the Main Street Festival or other festivals where you can and can't carry your beer? And if it's a full park buyout versus just a quadrant, then let's be sure that the quadrant is clearly delineated, that that's where beer can be consumed in the park.
What does the full buyout mean, Eric?
They control the entire space.
But
The park,
how much? Well,
you'd have to tell us the amount. I know partial's $2,000, but I
You
don't.
talking about money, clerk?
Or Alderman Barnhill, are you asking from a financial standpoint
I'm
or from
asking-
an acreage standpoint?
no, acreage is 200 acres
Yeah.
for the park.
Right, I'll have to check with Parks to get the exact number. Like Eric said, it's more than 2,000, but I'm not sure the exact amount for the whole park. And they rent the park from, I believe, Thursdays when they start setup or Friday, and then they end on Monday when they do tear down.
Yeah, we'll get you that exact number,
So
but
no
it's
one-
it's the fee that's already established for the full use of the
So
park.
no one goes into the park on Friday or
Or Saturday.
Or
correct.
Saturday.
Correct.
based upon this event. Okay. Or sometime Thursday afternoon, whatever.
Usually, yes, but usually Friday morning.
Friday morning, Friday and Saturday.
Yes.
And do us one small favor for those watching online. We just tell everybody who you are and what your role is.
I'm Monique McCullough, I do public outreach and special events for the city.
Thanks, Monique.
Monique, see if you can get that number specifically.
I will.
That issue
Yeah, we'll
will
have
come
that
up in the next meeting, so.
I'll have it for you.
I do have a comment, but are there any additional questions? Okay. My only comment, and this applies not only to agenda item number 4, which we're currently under discussion, but this also applies to agenda item number 3, which we just previously approved. And we can see the theme here of please partner with our City of Franklin leadership regarding the parks and event specialists. They do a phenomenal job of planning these events and implementing best practices. We just ask all groups to continue to do that. At this time, there's no further comments or questions. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion has been made and properly seconded. And as a reminder for everyone, this is for agenda item number 4 on today's agenda. We'll move forward to a roll call vote. Alderman Barnhill?
Yes.
Alderman Caesar?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes as well. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, board.
Yes. Next, we'll move forward to agenda item number 5. This is consideration of application of Cool Springs Restaurant Operating, LLC, DBA Paleto Restaurant, 1914 Galleria Boulevard, Franklin, Tennessee, 37067. Theresa Scotto, Managing Agent for on-premises consumption. Ms. Davy?
All right, so this is a new business here in the city of Franklin. To give you some context, this is going into the building that Party Foul occupied previously. And the application and inspections are complete except for the final certificate of occupancy. So staff is recommending approval contingent on receiving the final CO. And Tucker Herndon, who's the attorney for Palado Restaurant, is here, as well as Ms. Scotto, who's the owner, and they can tell you about the restaurant and answer any questions.
All right, thank you very much. We invite Mr. Tucker and Ms. Scotto to the podium.
Sure.
Mr. Tucker, go ahead, sir.
Thank you, members of the board. I'm going to let Ms. Scotto talk because I know that y'all like to hear from her more than you like to hear from me. I think we've met all of the requirements other than the certificate of occupancy, which we've talked with Jessica, and we will supply, and at that point, we would request the issuance of the new beer permit.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tucker. Ms. Scotto, welcome.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you. So we have, Palado is already in Germantown, and we also own Luogo, which is in the Gulch. All of our servers adhere to TABC licenses. Everyone asks for ID while we're serving. We don't allow children to sit at the bar. We really run a very strict house, and we've had no issues in the past. We're also really not a very late night restaurant. Last reservations are typically normally like around 10 o'clock, so everybody's out pretty early.
Okay, pretty early after 10 o'clock, late dinner. I was home by 9:30 last Friday. All right.
Family-friendly Italian restaurant.
Yeah.
Excellent.
We're open for brunch on Saturday and Sunday as well.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Scotto.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to open the floor now to comments or questions from our board members. Alderman Barnhill?
I think you're pretty well satisfied with what I would have asked, and that was that y'all, your service are certified, and that you've operated the restaurant at 2 different locations besides this one that you're opening, so you probably know the drill. And I don't have any other questions on that. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Alderman Caesar?
Yeah, my only word of advice would be we're a little different community than perhaps where some of your other locations are, and not to take anything away from those other 2 locations, but just to be mindful of the environment here, and the rules may be a little bit different than what you get up in Metro, and ensure that, we're not serving, not only are we IDing, but that we're serving appropriately and managing when the cutoff period is. And
Absolutely.
having been a former server myself, I
Yeah.
understand the red, yellow, green system and all of that, and just make sure your team understands that as well.
Yeah,
And
we make sure that, even in the other 2 restaurants, being in Nashville, that we adhere to all the strict lines. We have nothing to do with like the Broadway crowd. That's not our cup of tea.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion has been made and properly
I'm sorry
seconded.
to-
Ms. Stady?
Oh,
yes.
with motion to approve contingent upon the certificate of occupancy. Thank you for that.
Second.
Had it written down here and everything.
So did I. All right, Alderman Caesar has made the correct motion at this time, and it has been properly seconded. We'll move forward to a roll call vote at this time. Alderman Barnhill?
Yes.
Alderman Caesar?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes as well. Thank you, Ms. Scotto. Thank you, Mr. Tucker.
Thank you.
Best of luck on your new location.
Thanks.
Welcome to Franklin.
Yeah.
Next, we're going to move forward to agenda item number 6. This is consideration of application of 111 Motor Cars LLC, DBA Curio Brewing Company at 111. Location is at 111 Alpha Drive, Franklin, Tennessee 37064. William Vaughn Watring, managing agent for on and off premises consumption. Ms. Davy?
So on this application, we actually are still waiting on a few things that we need to work out with the applicant and a couple of our internal reviews. So staff is actually recommending a deferral to February to give us time to get all of the inspections and the application thoroughly reviewed and bring all of that to you once it's complete.
So we'll ask for a deferral to our next meeting. And
Date specific.
yes, do we need the
February 10th.
February 10th? Thank you very much. All right.
I will make the motion to defer to the February 10th meeting.
Second.
All right. Motion has been made and properly seconded. We'll move forward to a roll call vote. Alderman Barnhill?
Yes.
Alderman Caesar?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes as well. Ms. Davy, I will also ask, as we move this forward, I know that they had a certificate already in place, a temporary certificate, if that could be extended until this is closed out, because I know they were planning on it being closed out today. So,
Okay, I will be glad to review that with the law department and see what authority we have
excellent.
to
Can you
to issue
provide
that.
some clarity on what you mean?
They had a temporary beer permit for their facility.
Correct.
correct?
So we, under the municipal code, there is authority to issue, to administratively issue a temporary beer permit when some of the initial inspections are complete. So that was issued. It did expire. It does expire today. And so I think that's what you're referring
Correct.
to, Alderman Potts. So yes, my office will be glad, like I said, to communicate with the law department and just double check that we have the authority to extend that temporary.
Thank you very much. Excuse me, hold on. Alderman Caesar?
Just a question on that. I know that it sounds like there has to be some research done on extending that. Is there the possibility that that permit has a limitation, an administrative limitation that rests on you all that would require the board to act to extend another temporary?
That's a good question.
I'm not really sure of the answer to that.
I'm scrolling literally as
It's okay.
It's all
Take
right.
take time. I think the spirit here is if there is something that happens, I don't want to put them in a lurch because of some administrative stuff. If we need to act, maybe we can.
Hi, good afternoon. The short answer to your question is the way the temporary issuance is written in the code, it is typically done between meetings to go towards the next meeting so that you can grant or deny the actual permit. I'll need to dig a little bit and see if we can just automatically extend that. Normally, your answer about the actual beer permit is the answer to the question as to what happens to the temporary.
Okay.
If you want to, I think you're looking at me as though, what should you do? What you might do is make a motion to do that if that's something you want to do, if the authority exists to do so, and we'll go back and figure out and make sure that can be done.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we need a motion to tell you to issue a temporary permit. You've already issued one temporary permit for what they're doing now. Wouldn't you just issue another temporary permit under the circumstances that we've just gone through here? I mean, I don't think I've ever voted on telling you to do your job.
Correct.
Okay.
You were in the middle of a vote on a deferral, I think is where,
The vote's already passed.
Yeah.
The vote for the deferral has already passed.
and then I heard some discussion about should we add that to,
No, not to add it, it was to
Just-
review extending that.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
now the discussion is, does a motion need to be made tonight? And I hear what Alderman Barnhill is asking is, do we need to make a motion that is an approval motion for an extension for that temporary beer permit until February the 10th, 2026?
I think the assumption is that your ability or authority as staff to
There's
extend it
limitations.
twice is
That's
limited
what
by
I'm saying
something.
to you.
And if that is the case, then essentially we're repealing that temporary permit from the business that is operating right now potentially under the guise of this temporary permit. And I didn't speak to the business owner, but I would assume their belief is that they will continue to be able to operate as they are until the 10th of February. If that's going to change, I think they would probably want to know that.
Well, the temporary that was issued expires today.
Tonight.
We always put an expiration date on our temporaries, and it's always the date of the next beer board meeting. So I think the only question for me would be, because we don't typically have a lot of deferrals and we don't have a situation very often where we issue a temporary, it expires, and then we're looking at whether we can issue a second temporary.
Sure.
To just clarify that we have the authority to do that under these circumstances.
And if you determine that you don't, the applicant is essentially not able to operate until the 10th of February. And I didn't speak to the applicant. I don't know who else may have, but I would assume the applicant probably may not know that, or that may not be clear.
Well,
And
I
don't know
can
if
certainly
we-
communicate that with the applicant. It sounds like, and correct me if I'm not understanding what you're saying, but your desire, your hope would be that we would issue a second temporary if we have the authority to do that. It sounds like you would
So-
like for us to do that if that is, and that would be what we would do anyway.
So,
But
Ms. Davy, I think what, to ensure that there's not an interruption in the business, as Alderman Caesar is saying, I will make a motion that to approve the extension of the temporary permit until February the 10th, 2026. In the event that your office, your department does not have the authority to do so, that it has been voted upon by this board. Is there a second?
I'll second, and then I have a question about that.
So we'll consider this agenda item number 7, or new business for our board. The motion has been made and properly seconded. We're now open for discussion. Alderman Caesar?
Are we able to have the discussion? Number one, I want to make sure we're following proper Robert's Rule of Order. We completed a motion, now we've added this back in.
Well,
I'm
this
looking
is-
for support from staff.
This is considered other business.
Yeah.
If I may, gentlemen, the simpler answer might be simply to ask the applicant to seek a temporary
Exactly.
again
Sorry.
until the next meeting. If
Okay.
it was granted the prior time, theoretically, it should also be granted
be
now.
granted again.
And it
That
would
was
roll
what I
till
was
next
asking.
meeting.
Then
Is
we-
there another, I didn't want it to be you get
Yes.
one temporary and then you're done.
Right.
And if there is an option for a second temporary and they have to seek it, then we don't need,
So we can withdraw the motion then.
I think you should.
Okay, we'll
Yes.
withdraw the motion and allow the office to go ahead and follow up with the organization.
So you would call him tomorrow, tell him he needs to come in, do whatever he needs to do to apply for a second temporary permit.
I'm happy to make that communication to that.
Perfect.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, is there any other or additional business to be brought before this board?
I have nothing.
All right, thank you, ma'am. At this time, we'll move forward to our favorite motion of the day.
That is adjourned. Motion to adjourn.
second.
Motion has been made and properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned.